Ever feel like the truth is more dangerous than a lie? Not because you're wrong, but because honesty has become emotional suicide. Say one real thing to the wrong woman, and watch how fast love turns into chaos. You think you're being open, transparent, a good man. But the second your words touch her insecurity, it's game over. Tears, rage, silence. Suddenly, you're not her partner. You're the villain, the emotionally unavailable guy who doesn't know how to love her right. Here's the insane part: you can lie, and she'll call it love. You can tell the truth, and she'll call it cruelty. That's the modern relationship paradox. Men are told to communicate, be honest, open up. But the moment we do, it's like pulling the pin on an emotional grenade. Most guys aren't quiet because they don't care. They're quiet because they've learned the cost of truth. One honest sentence can start a 3-day war. One careless truth can turn affection into punishment. So we stop talking. We start calculating. We choose peace over authenticity because silence is safer than honesty. But what if I told you this isn't about emotions at all? What if honesty isn't what breaks her? It's what threatens her control. Because once you see how truth flips the power dynamic, you'll understand exactly why so many women go crazy when a man finally stops lying. And that's where this story really begins. Here's the part nobody tells you when a woman says she wants honesty. What she really means is she wants her version of honesty. The kind that feels good, not the kind that's real. Because truth, real truth, doesn't just bruise the ego, it threatens the fantasy. Think about it. When she asks, "Do I look good in this?" she already knows the answer. She spent 20 minutes staring at the mirror before asking. It's not curiosity, it's confirmation. She's not looking for truth, she's looking for submission. She wants to see if you'll protect her feelings over your integrity. The question isn't about her body, it's about your obedience. And when you answer honestly, it's not your words that hurt her, it's your defiance. You refuse to play your assigned role. You refuse to bend reality to fit her comfort zone. That's not rejection to her, it's rebellion. In that moment, you didn't just disagree, you disobeyed, and that's when everything explodes. But here's the twist. It's not that women can't handle honesty. It's that honesty exposes everything they're hiding from themselves. The fading beauty, the insecurity, the quiet fear that maybe they've stopped being who they used to be. When you stop lying, she's forced to confront the reflection she's been avoiding. So she attacks the mirror instead of her own reflection. She punishes the truth instead of facing it. And you, trying to keep the peace, start to soften the edges. You tell half-truths. You sugarcoat. You start managing emotions instead of living reality. Before you know it, you're fluent in lies and empty insecurity. Here's the loop. Most men never escape lie to keep her happy, or tell the truth and lose her respect. Either way, you're losing something. That's why the real power isn't in choosing between peace and truth, it's in refusing the illusion altogether. Because the moment you stop protecting her fantasy, you start protecting your sanity. And that's when the game finally shifts in your favor. You know what's really crazy? Everyone says relationships fail because of a lack of communication. No, they fail because of dishonest communication, men saying what women want to hear instead of what's real. Every time you bite your tongue to keep the peace, you trade a piece of your soul for temporary comfort. It's not love, it's emotional debt. And eventually, the interest rate kills you. Here's what most guys don't get every time you lie to protect her feelings. She knows. Don't kid yourself. She's not stupid. She's complicit. She senses the lie, but she wants it anyway. Because the lie keeps her fantasy alive, and your compliance keeps her in control. That's the silent contract. most couples never talk about "you lie." She smiles, and the relationship rots quietly from the inside out. It's not insecurity, it's strategy. Tell me I'm beautiful doesn't mean I need reassurance. It means prove you'll betray your reality for my comfort. That's the real validation. Not that you think she's perfect, but that you're willing to pretend she is. Every time you say, "No, babe, you're not gaining weight," she hears something else. "I own the truth now." But here's the twist. It's not women who destroy men. It's men who destroy themselves, trying to please women. Because when you choose comfort over honesty, you're not protecting her, you're betraying yourself. And once a man loses respect for his own truth, no woman on earth will ever respect him again. That's why you see so many exhausted husbands and broken boyfriends walking around like ghosts, men who used to be sharp, confident, unshakable. Now they're experts at smiling through discomfort, apologizing for emotions they didn't cause, and pretending everything's fine while dying inside. And when she finally leaves, he's left asking, "What did I do wrong?" You lied. That's what you did wrong. You lied to survive. And she lost attraction because deep down, she could feel your submission. She doesn't want a puppet. She wants a man who won't flinch when the truth gets uncomfortable. Because the real tragedy isn't that she punished your honesty. It's that you stopped being honest with yourself. And once that happens, love becomes nothing more than a performance, two people acting, no one living. Here's the ugly truth society doesn't want to admit. Men didn't become afraid of honesty overnight. We were trained to be. From the time we were little, every man learned the same lesson. When a woman cries, you fix it. When she's angry, you apologize. When she's irrational, you stay quiet. Not because it's right, but because that's how you survive. That's not empathy. That's emotional conditioning. You see, modern culture turned male honesty into a crime and female emotion into law. Happy wife, happy life. The woman is always right. Those sayings sound harmless until you realize what they actually mean. Lie to keep her calm. It's not partnership, it's submission. Dressed as romance. Every generation of men has been told that peace is found in silence, that strength means swallowing the truth. But peace bought with dishonesty isn't peace, it's paralysis. And here's the twist. It's not that women ruined men, it's that men stopped defending reality. We surrendered truth one little compromise at a time. We told her she looked great when she didn't. We said we were fine when we weren't. We smiled through manipulation and called it maturity. But every time we traded truth for comfort, we carved another hole in our backbone. That's why so many relationships today feel hollow. They're not built on love. They're built on emotional negotiation. The man learns to lie. The woman learns to believe the lie, and both pretend it's connection. It's not love, it's performance art. Two people protecting delusions instead of building reality. And the craziest part, society rewards this dysfunction. If you tell the truth, you're toxic. If you stay silent, you're emotionally unavailable. There's no winning move, only obedience or blame. That's how deep the programming runs. But the moment a man chooses truth over approval, everything shifts. The chaos doesn't disappear, but for the first time, he's free. Free from guilt, free from manipulation, free from walking on emotional eggshells. Because real peace isn't keeping her calm, it's keeping your integrity. And once you choose that, the game changes forever. Here's where it gets darker. The problem isn't that women don't communicate, it's that they've mastered a different language. A language built on emotions, not logic. On traps, not truth. When she asks, "Do you still think about your ex?" That's not curiosity, it's bait. When she says, "Would you still love me if I gained weight?" That's not affection, it's a setup. These aren't conversations. They're emotional minefields. And every man knows one wrong word can blow up an entire week of peace. And here's the twist. It's not that women are bad communicators. It's that they use communication as control. When she says, "I'm fine," she doesn't mean fine. When she says, "I don't care," she means you better care right now. It's a psychological game designed to see how far you'll bend to decode her feelings while pretending everything's normal. The test isn't about what you say, it's about how much power she still has over you. You ever notice how men talk straight while women talk in circles? A man says, "I'm hungry, let's get food." Simple. A woman says, "I don't know what I want," and then rejects every option you give her. It's not about dinner, it's about dominance. It's about seeing if you'll keep chasing her approval while she moves the target. That's not communication, that's chaos. Wrapped in charm, and men fall for it. Every time, because we've been told decoding her emotions is love. No, it's conditioning. You're not building connection, you're managing volatility. You're walking through a storm, trying to read the thunder instead of finding shelter. And the longer you play, the worse it gets. But here's the part no one talks about. This emotional chaos isn't random. It's been normalized, encouraged, even romanticized. Society says, happy wife, happy life. Sounds sweet, right? But the translation is simple. Lie, obey, avoid conflict. Because here's the loop: every time you calm the drama, it resets the game. Every time you solve the puzzle, she builds a harder one. You think you're proving devotion, but you're proving obedience. And that's the difference between being her partner and being her pawn. Let me give you a real-world example. I had a client, high-level executive, no-nonsense guy, focused, disciplined, brutally honest. His wife had gained about 30 pounds over 7 years. One night, she asks him, "Do you still find me attractive?" He tries to be gentle. "You're beautiful to me." Not enough. She pushes harder. "But is it the same as before?" He pauses, breathes deep, then says, "Honestly, not like before." What follows? Emotional hell. Tears, guilt, accusations, silent treatment. She weaponizes his words, spins the story to her friends. "My husband doesn't love me anymore, and the craziest part," she told him, "never be that honest again." So now, he lies. Not because he wants to, but because he's learned the cost of telling the truth. And like most men, he now lives in a relationship where silence feels safer than honesty. You ever wonder why so many men just shut down? It's not because they don't care. It's because they've learned that, in modern relationships, honesty equals punishment. The moment you open your mouth, you're guilty. Tell her she's overreacting. You're gaslighting. Tell her the truth. You're cruel. Stay silent. You're emotionally unavailable. No matter what you do, you lose. So men adapt. We go quiet. We go numb. We learn the hard way that silence hurts less than honesty. And here's the twist. It's not that men fear emotions. It's that they've been taught emotions are weapons. Every tear, every sigh, every cold shoulder becomes a form of control. The emotional meltdown isn't random. It's strategic. The louder she cries, the faster you fold. That's not communication. That's conditioning. I've seen men who used to lead entire companies, reduced to walking on eggshells in their own homes. One honest comment about attraction, one unfiltered thought, and suddenly he's the villain in her narrative. She tells her friends, her family, social media, "He doesn't love me anymore." What she doesn't mention is that she demanded the truth. She wanted honesty until it stopped flattering her. That's the trap. Truth is welcome only when it's convenient. So men stop trying. They stop sharing. They start calculating every sentence like it's a courtroom statement. Every emotion becomes a liability. Every thought gets filtered through fear. Until one day, you're not even living with a partner, you're surviving with a judge. You're not loved, you're managed. And that's the quiet epidemic nobody talks about. Men aren't emotionally unavailable by nature. They're emotionally trained to stay silent. Because in this game, truth doesn't set you free. It sets you on fire. But here's the loop. Every time you lie to stay safe, you reinforce the very system that cages you. You trade freedom for comfort, integrity for peace. The only way out isn't softer lies, it's harder truth. Because the moment you stop fearing her reaction, you start reclaiming your voice. And once a man gets his voice back, no amount of tears, guilt, or manipulation can silence him again. Here's where everything collapses. The real tragedy isn't that men lie, it's that they've been taught lying is love. We call it keeping the peace. We call it being supportive. But what it really is surrender. Every time you tell her what she wants to hear, you kill a little more of what makes you a man. Not your muscles, not your confidence, your truth. Because once you start lying to protect her feelings, it never stops there. You lie about attraction. You lie about resentment. You lie about how unhappy you are. Until one day, you're looking at the woman you promised forever to, and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You've become the nice guy she says she wants, and the man she no longer respects. And here's the twist. It's not the arguments that destroy relationships. It's the silence that grows from punished honesty. Every truth you hide becomes a wall. Every lie you tell becomes a brick. And soon, what used to be love turns into quiet coexistence. Two people smiling, pretending, performing. The marriage still exists, but the intimacy is long gone. That's why so many couples look alive on Instagram but dead in real life. They've turned love into damage control. He lies to avoid conflict. She pretends to believe the lie to avoid facing herself. And they both call that peace. But that's not peace. It's a ceasefire. And ceasefires always end the same way: one side surrenders completely. Here's what men need to understand. You can't build intimacy without truth. You can't build respect without friction. Real connection isn't soft. It's sharp. It's built through honesty, boundaries, and confrontation. That's what keeps love alive. Because the loop never ends until you break it. The moment you choose truth over comfort, everything changes. Maybe she gets angry. Maybe she leaves. But at least she'll finally meet the real you, and for the first time, you'll meet him too. That's the paradox no one talks about. Honesty might cost you her approval, but it gives you back your soul. And that's a trade every man eventually has to make. So here's the final truth, the one nobody wants to face. Most men aren't broken. They're programmed. Programmed to believe their job. Their job is to manage female emotions, not live their own reality. Programmed to think that keeping her calm is more important than keeping their integrity. That's not love, that's indoctrination. You've been taught since boyhood. Don't make her cry. Always be the bigger man. Keep her happy no matter what. But no one ever told you the cost. Because every time you silence your truth to protect her comfort, you pay in pieces of yourself. You think you're buying peace, but you're actually renting approval. And she can cancel that lease anytime she wants. Here's the twist. It's not women who made men weak. It's men who forgot that love without truth isn't love at all. You don't build respect by surrendering. You don't build intimacy by lying. You build resentment, frustration, and quiet hatred that eats your spirit alive. That's why so many men today look strong on the outside, but feel hollow inside. They've mastered the art of emotional obedience. So what's the move? Stop playing. Stop explaining. Stop managing her emotions like it's your full-time job. Your responsibility isn't to maintain her delusion, it's to protect your own reality. If she can't handle the truth, she's not your partner, she's your captor. Because real strength isn't avoiding her meltdown, it's standing firm in the middle of it. Real love isn't saying what she wants to hear, it's saying what's true. Even when it costs you peace, that's the backbone most modern men have been shamed out of having. And here's the paradox: when you finally stop trying to keep her happy, that's when she starts respecting you. When you stop chasing approval, you start earning it. Not because she suddenly changes, but because you do. So if you're tired of walking on eggshells, start walking in truth. Be honest, be direct, be unshakable. She might go crazy, but you'll finally be free. And for the men listening right now, drop a comment. Tell me the craziest trap question you've ever been asked, the wildest moment when telling the truth backfired. Because the more we talk about it, the less we have to suffer in silence. Truth isn't the enemy, it's the beginning of freedom.